Broadcasting live from the Business RadioX studios in Woodstock, Georgia. Welcome to Women in Business, where we celebrate influential women making a difference in our community. Now, here's your host.
Welcome to another exciting and informative edition of Women in Business. Stone Payton here with you this afternoon. You guys are in for such a real treat. Please join me in welcoming to the broadcast educator, executive, and author of Living on a Smile, Miss Joanne Herold. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Stone?
Oh, I am doing well. Really been looking forward to this conversation and diving in to some of the specifics around this book. But before we go there, how about a little bit of a backstory? Tell us a little bit about your path to where you are now.
So I never imagined when I started as a star at McDonald's, and a star is a store area representative, and I wore the Hamburglar costume and gave birthday parties at McDonald's, that would lead into a lifelong career of marketing and working in restaurants and retail and for brands. That early job as a 16-year-old would lead into such an awesome career.
Well, we are so delighted to have someone of your experience here, and you've contributed substantially to a couple of little companies some of us may recognize. I know one that leapt off of the page for me is Honey Baked Ham, because there is a honey baked ham at every Payton affair, whether it's a birthday, an anniversary, or just an excuse to get together. There's going to be a honey baked ham there, and I know you've had an opportunity to do some stuff for Arby's, and my instincts are that you leaned on some of that life experience and what you learned there as you began to commit some of these ideas to paper and bring this book together, yeah?
Yeah, so Honey Baked Ham is awesome. I love the company, the brand, the values, the people. It's a beloved brand that brings everybody together. So got the good fortune to work for them twice as their CMO. And before that was, you mentioned, at Arby's Restaurant Group, where I got to lead brand marketing and also was the vice chairman or guest chairwoman of the Arby's Foundation, and then also served for a very purpose-driven company called Interface, which is located here in Atlanta, but a global company that's filled with purpose and sells beautiful, beautiful carpet tiles.
And you find yourself in the classroom from time to time at a couple of different institutions, sharing some insights and facilitating those conversations as well. So you really are an educator too, yeah? Yeah,
so I'm super excited. I'm doing work with Georgia State and love working with them. I'm co-leading or working with a partner, Dr. Dennis Shaw, on the Georgia State Chief Marketing Officer Roundtable, but also am about to launch into teaching with them and teaching their executive MBAs. But through the years, I've been a teacher as an adjunct for almost 20 years. So super excited to work with Georgia State in this capacity.
All right, so let's talk about this book. It's Living on a Smile, 16 Ways to Live a Big Life and Lead with Love. First question, what compelled you? Was there a catalytic event that said, okay, it's time, I got to put this thing together? What was that thing that nudged you to actually get it done, you think?
So I've had the idea probably since I was 7 years old to write a book, and have kept journals and notes. But the catalyst was during the pandemic. I've got a really good friend who's actually owns the publishing company. His name is Jeff Hillemeyer, and he was about to write his fourth book and encouraged me while he was writing his fourth book to for us to be collaboration partners. So I wrote my book while he was writing his fourth book, and we would every day text and how many words did you write? And so it was a great way to get the ideas onto paper and then get it written and then edited and then published and launched. So the writing the book is one part of the marathon. And as you know, I know you've written a book also. It's also the editing, publishing, marketing. That's other sprints of the marathon.
Absolutely. Okay, so 16 ways. Can you share a few of them with us and maybe dive into one and give us some context for some of this info?
So after each chapter, I do have a field guide or a workbook, but it really is for the reader a way to articulate your purpose, mission, values, goals, strengths, and also, ways. So part of it's autobiographical and talks about family and friends and experiences that have happened. But it gives the reader ways and tips that I've learned from mentors and family and friends on ways to live a big life and lead with love.
Well, I'd like to dive into that one a little bit. It's a big topic. It sounds like a noble pursuit. I don't know that there's anyone in a position of having responsibility for generating results with and through other people that wouldn't want to be known as someone who would lead with love. But can you speak to that concept specifically a little bit?
Absolutely. So as a marketer and a business person, everything that I did as a marketer would need to be executed through a field organization or a team. And so for me, in order to be successful and make ensure the company was successful, I needed to lead with love. And leading with love in that regard is making sure that any ideas and programs were vetted, that they were thought through from all areas, not only a marketing perspective, but supply chain, operations, the field team, so that it was easy to execute. In the hospitality business, so much of it is when a guest comes into a store or buys the product, they're coming for a happy occasion. So it's also making sure the programs and the culture embody what we're trying to achieve. So, and then another part is really just being kind and doing things for others and being service oriented and a servant leader, in business.
So when you were putting this thing together, were there parts of the book that just came together super easy and like, yeah, I just got to get this out. I got to get this written down. And then other parts that you really struggled with and it took some time to get it like you wanted it?
Yeah. I mean, I put together a good outline, I think. And some days the words would just flow and it was easy, and 3 hours would go by and I couldn't believe how fast the time flew. And so that's around passion and purpose and vision. When I would get stuck, I would call my friend Jeff Hillemeyer, who I mentioned, and we would brainstorm for a minute, and then it helped in other ways get the ideas onto paper and made it easier to flow. So there were definitely places where I'd get stuck. I tried to write every single day, and I still do write every single day. I'm not at this moment writing another book, but that practice made things a little bit easier.
So something like, and these are my words, not yours, I don't think, but like living into your purpose, identifying your purpose, trying to get that figured out. I mean, that can be real challenging for some of us, I think. Why do you think that is so challenging, or is that consistent with your experience? Do a lot of people find themselves challenged when they're trying to really nail that and get it isolated?
I think time, it's putting aside the time to do it. I think it's having a good framework in order to do it. And in the book, I give a framework. It's also iterative as far as, for me, the purpose and the missions stay the same, but my goals may change based on, things I've learned and new ideas. So I'm always iterating and updating the goal part of my purpose.
Yeah, I would think that, and I wonder if from time to time when people are doing that, as they should be, if they don't sometimes get the sense that they're getting off track, but that's not really necessarily the case. It's part of the process, right?
It is. A couple of years ago, I decided I wanted to be just a great tennis player, even though I'd never played. And I took lessons, and I wasn't so great. so now I'm back taking lessons, and I want to learn how to play tennis. I don't think I'll ever be a great tennis player, but I'm also thinking maybe pickleball might be more my speed.
There you go. So the whole sales and marketing, I guess, are the right words. What has that been like trying to? Because the book's not been out that long, right? As we speak today, how long has it been out?
It's been out about 3 weeks.
Yeah, so it's just now getting out there. So yeah, you've put a lot of energy, I'm sure, time and energy and blood and sweat. What's that been like for you, promoting the book and trying to get it into the hands of people?
That has been fun. This is one where I have to thank my friend group, circle, people in the posse who have helped me along the way. The book has done really well. It's I think it was a #1 bestseller in a couple categories, and it's still doing really well. So, and that's because of the people in my circle.
Well, that is fantastic. Okay, so let's take advantage of the fact that we've got you, the author, right here with us live. And let's say I have a copy of the book in front of me. I'm excited about it. And thank goodness I know Joanne. So I ring her up and I say, okay, Joanne, I'm about to sit down with this thing. Help me out with some pro tips or some pointers on how to get the most out of the book so that it has some genuine and lasting impact for me. What's the best way to approach the book, mindset, activities, like that?
Yeah, I mentioned it really was designed to be reflective and for the reader to have the opportunity to take a pause. So after each chapter, there's ways that the reader can write their own purpose, mission, values. And so I would recommend, and I wrote it for that purpose so that the reader would walk away with their own kind of guidebook as far as leading a big life and leading with love.
Okay, so let's talk about me a little bit. It's my show. So I have an opportunity to lead a few folks in our organization, the Business RadioX Network, and I'm part of a mastermind. Is this the kind of book, because it certainly sounds like maybe it is, that we could, in each of those contexts, that we might be able to utilize the book, maybe do some individual work, come together and have some pointed and focused conversation on some different aspects of the work? Is that a viable way
that is exactly what it was designed for.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that would be fantastic to. So if you've got a team and do a little bit of individual work, then come back, talk it through, and I think you said early in the conversation you have some sort of like a workbook or field guide that accompanies this to help facilitate that.
Yeah, it's after each chapter there's a way that the reader can take the examples and translate it into their own self.
I love it. And the vision, speaking of purpose and vision, do you envision leveraging this book and the work around it into doing things in other formats, like, I don't know, events, workshops, supporting different ecosystems and communities? Do you think you might go in that direction with this? Yes. Okay.
Absolutely. I as I was writing it, the person I had in mind was a 30 to 40-year-old exec in any field who's juggling a busy life, who wants a life that's filled with purpose and passion. And ultimately, I'd love to teach and coach and use this in workshops. And that's been working out so far.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people who've bought it and read it who are giving it to their daughters, which to me is the highest compliment I could receive.
Absolutely. Well, I can, I kind of come from the training and consulting world, and I got to tell you, my instincts are just based on this conversation and some of the topics that you've touched on. I think this is marvelous content that can be used as a catalyst for learning, to challenge people's thinking, to have them, have some genuine dialogue around this and make some decisions about, maybe some shifts that they may want to make in goals or habits. And then in that group environment, perhaps there's some real value in what's the right thing? Like holding each other a little bit of accountable for what they say they're going to do. This just, it strikes me as incredibly rewarding work.
It is. And my favorite part of being a leader is the team and watching the team grow. And so the book was really a gift to the people who helped me along the way, and to thank them, but also hopefully a gift to people who are coming up and growing their career and family, and just, again, just trying to live a happy and positive, productive, and purposeful life.
In just a moment, before we wrap, I'm going to make sure that folks know how to get their hands on the book and know how to reach out to you or someone on your team if they want to possibly engage you, to do some speaking work or workshop work. But in the space between someone hearing this conversation and taking one of those steps, I'd love to leave them, if we could, with, I don't know, a pro tip or two, just things if this is something that really does interest us and we think we want to begin exploring some of these topics, a pro tip, an actionable kind of thing that maybe we ought to try to do today or this afternoon or not do. Could we leave them with an idea or two just to start stimulate their thinking and inform future conversations and kind of get them warmed up and prepped to get the most out of the book?
Yeah, something I do every day. I wake up and I think about the best possible outcome. And, it's easy sometimes to start thinking, oh gosh, I've got to do this or that. So I've trained my brain to just be positive and to make it a great day. So that would be my tip. And then going back to my purpose, which is to lead with love and try to do something kind every day.
I love it. All right. So where can we get our hands on this book? Let's make sure we make that easy for our folks to do. And then let's leave them with some sort of point of contact, whatever you think is appropriate, whether it's a LinkedIn or an email or a website or what have you. I just want to make sure that people can stay connected and pursue this to their heart's desire.
So thanks. The book is available on Amazon, and it's Living on a Smile. And I'm Joanne Herold. LinkedIn is the best way. It's tied right to my email. But if you want to email me directly, it's Joanne Herold, and it's JoannHerold 1107 @gmail.com.
Well, Joanne, it has been an absolute delight having you on the show this afternoon. You are doing such important work. I appreciate you. I know our listeners appreciate you. Please keep it up. And don't be a stranger. Maybe there's some wisdom in us sort of circling back around periodically and following your story. It might even be fun to speak with you and an inspired reader sometime, or an inspired workshop participant. So this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been such a privilege and a pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
All right. This is Stone Payton for our guest today, Joanne Herold, author of Living on a Smile, and everyone here at the Business RadioX family saying we'll see you next time on Women in Business.